Okay, let me share my screen of Mangalasharan and then we can start from there. I think you can see the screen now. Well,
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, let's chant the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankajanaಭಾಯ Namaha Pankajamaline Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajanggrahe Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatariणे Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna everyone, welcome you all on our ongoing discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam. And so we have been discussing yesterday on Canto 7, where we seen that how Prahlad Maharaj was being tortured by Hiranyakashipu and all his servants. But still, there was no effect on him. He was only fully focused on remembering Lord Krishna, Vishnu, properly. And then he was, we heard about how on the break time or on a lunch time, he started actually giving this instruction of Krishna consciousness to all the his fellow mates, those though were little children's 5 6 years, but still Prahlad Maharaj told that there is no need to waste time, and it should be started as early as possible. So, and he started giving all this information about Krishna to him, to all them, and then today we will be discussing about what the solution. He said, uh, this the family thinks it binds us when we don't keep Krishna in between, and then this metal nature or the metal laws, they actually bind us too much when we don't have the knowledge. And when we don't have the knowledge of Krishna, it becomes very difficult to get out of this metal world. And then he said the ultimate goal for the devotees of Narayana is liberation from the bondage of metal existence. And then we started going toward the what a solution. How can we get this or get liberated from this bondage of metal existence? So we'll continue from today here. And then Prahlad continues. He says, "My dear son of demons, the supreme personality of Godhead Narayana is the original super soul, the father of all living entities. Consequently, there are no impediments to pleasing him or worshipping him under any condition. So, where one be a child or an old man. So, there is no barrier on age, even if a child or an old man or a youth, everyone can worship." And we seen yesterday, wow, how Prahlad Maharaj described that, without the knowledge of Krishna, a person actually by sleeping, he spends his 50 years of life, and then 10 years in childhood, 10 years in boyhood, then 20 years in old age and just 10 some remaining years in household activities, and he was so entangled that all the time he forgets Krishna. So that he says, we should be starting about knowledge of Krishna from the childhood, and how to worship him, and all other things. We discussed a bit elaborately yesterday as well. What Prabhupada says, that the children should be given all this knowledge from this birth. Even Prabhupada many times says that this Vedic culture, Vedic knowledge, actually it doesn't start after 5 or 6 years. It actually start at the time of conception. So whenever a child is being conceived in the womb of a mother, from that very time, the children can be given this Vedic knowledge. And we have seen so many examples in the history as well. So Prabhupada says, when many devotees, who know this knowledge, they actually, whenever they are planning for the children, they used to chant Bhagavad Gita, read Bhagavad Gita, chant holy name, or chant Vishnu Sahasranama, whenever the ladies are pregnant, and hear Krishna Katha, Krishna book. The Prabhupada gives the Krishna book. So it gives a nourishment to the soul, or to the living entity from the within the womb as well. And then when they come up, they actually becomes a glorious devotees. So Prabhupada now continues here saying that, as Prahlad Maharaj said, that you should be starting from children, and supreme soul or super soul, he is the original Narayana, which is the father of all living entity. Prabhupada says, quotes from the Bhagavad Gita from 14th chapter. It says, Sarva yoni sukonteya mrutyaya sambhavantiva Tasham Brahma Mahad Yoni Aham Bija Pradhapita. Krishna is saying very clearly that in 14th chapter, that it should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed giving father. So Krishna clearly says, I am the seed giving father. So basically, if we go back, like, to our forefathers, we will certainly reach towards, at the end is Krishna. So we have seen in previous chapter all the creation, how Krishna expanded into Balram, and then Chaturvyu, and then Sankarshan expanded again, sorry, Mahasankarshan, and then we see the three Purushas, and then Brahma creates everything, then Manu prognate more and more. So actually, ultimately, if we go back, then we will actually lead on to Krishna. And that's how Krishna says, I am the seed giving father of every living entity. Right. And then Prahlad Maharaj continues saying that, therefore, my dear young friends, born of demon, please act in such a way that the Supreme Lord, who is beyond the conception of material knowledge, will be satisfied. So the goal of life is actually to satisfy him, and give up your demonic nature and act without enmity or duality. Show mercy to all the living entities by enlightening them in devotional service, thus becoming their well wisher. We see in Prabhupada's books, he says, is always written that, your ever well wisher, Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada, at the age of, no, though he had this intention from very long, but at the age of 70 and onwards, he started touring to whole world and giving the Krishna consciousness to everyone, every corner of the world. That is how he became the everyone's well-wisher. And because he is providing the knowledge by which someone can cut down this material existence and go back to the spiritual world, where he remains eternally. We try here, I was reading just a couple of hours back, and one of the book Prabhupada says, we scientists, or the politicians, we trying to conquer death, isn't it? Still there are so many inventions, but still there is no one has invented that how can we fight with this old age, how can we fight with the disease and death. Still no solution, and it won't be possible to get solution as well. However, by taking shelter of Krishna through devotional service, this knot can be broken, and the person can actually go back to spiritual world. And then Prahlad Maharaj continues saying that nothing is unobtainable for devotees who have satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who is the cause of all causes, who is the original source of everything. And then the Lord is a reservoir of unlimited spiritual qualities. So that he, just by devotion, actually we can get it, right? And then he says, whatever we want, even we discussed about the akama sarva kama va, what, even if we have full of desires, we see about Dhruva Maharaj, he had a desire to get planet bigger than his great grandfather or Lord Brahma, and he achieved it just by the devotion to Lord Krishna. So whatever we want, even if, so though it's not a good thing, because Prabhupada says this is basically, you are dealing as a merchant. Okay, I'm doing good service, I'm doing a devotional service, so please give me in return. That's a kind of dealing. But even if we do that, that's glorious, because at the end Krishna take away that desire from us. And gradually we understand that these things are temporary, and there is no need to ask this. Rather, let's love Krishna, right? And then uh, continues Prahlad Maharaj saying that we, the devotees, always glorify the lotus feet of the Lord, and therefore we need not ask for anything in terms of dharma, kama, artha, or moksha. And he is saying now that we just glorify Lord, and we do not, the devotees, they do not ask for even for moksha as well. What we speak about dharma, artha, and kama. Dharma, artha, kama are actually, they, when the body goes, everything finishes. But moksha, liver says good thing, but still he's saying devotees do not desire moksha as well from Krishna. They only want is service of him, servicing him and his devotees. That's it. And then then he says, which are all automatically obtainable under the influence of the modes of nature. And these things like the artha and kama, these are, we get it automatically by the influence of the modes of nature or our previous activities, previous karmas. And by they saying that this is religion, or basically dharma, and economic development, or artha, or sense gratification, kama, dharma, artha, kama. These are described in the Vedas at three varga, or three ways of to salvation. And within these three categories are education and self-realization, ritualistic ceremonies performed according to Vedic injunctions, logic, the science of law and order, and the various means of earning one's livelihood. So the way this provides this information about how a person can live, and also become educated and become self-realized as well. And then, but the higher thing that he says that no, these are external subject of study in the Vedas. So these are not actually the internal, or these are not the transcendental. These are the external subjects matter, and that is why he was not interested in studying when Sanda and Amarka were teaching him about these things, about dharma, artha, and kama, right? And I was listening to one lecture a couple of days back, where my Guru Maharaj was saying that these instructions, or they teach the demon earth, Sanda and Amarka. They wanted to teach about religion to Prahlad Maharaj. That religion, the demonic religion, is basically saying that this is your friend and this is your enemy. So that kind of teachings they were going to give Prahlad Maharaj, because of being in demon. So and Dhruva Maharaj says, it's useless. Everyone is same. Everyone is the, is a son of God, or everyone actually are the living entities, are the parts and parcel of Lord. So that is the correct understanding, rather than being enmity or envious between one and another. And hence he said these are just external matters to take care of our own body and everything else. And however, he says, I consider surrender to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu is to be transcendental. So dharma, artha, kama, these are, they are in the way that's described properly, but these are external subjects. What is the transcendental is surrendering to Lord Krishna's lotus feet. And he says such knowledge is extremely difficult to understand without the mercy of a saintly person like Narada. So he now reveals that this knowledge actually he has got through his spiritual master Narada Muni. And he says that, but everyone who has taken shelter of Narada disciplic succession can understand this confidential knowledge, because this knowledge Krishna says, Evam paramparam praptim, right? So this knowledge comes through disciplic succession. And he says, anyone who takes shelter of this succession or disciplic succession, they can understand this knowledge. Otherwise, it becomes difficult to understand. And Prahlad Maharaj continues saying that, I received this knowledge from the great Rishi, a great saint, Narada Muni, who is always engaged in devotional service, singing the glories of Lord Narayana all the time. Right? And this knowledge is called as Bhagavata Dharma or Sanatana Dharma, and which is fully scientific. And it is based on logic and philosophy and is free from all metal contamination. Then the son of the demons, they asked a question. He says, they asked, either you nor we know any teacher or spiritual master other than these two, son of Sukracharya, Sanda and Amarka. Then would you kindly explain us how it was possible for you to hear from Narada Muni? So very intelligent question by asked by these sons of demon, saying that we haven't seen anyone else, but how you have got association of Narada Muni? Could you please explain this to us? We wanted to know it. And because they actually till now they become very very favorable, they become very respectful to Prahlad Maharaj, and they every day uh, in the break they used to hear Krishna Katha. So that is how Prahlad Maharaj is going to explain them that how he had association of Narada Muni, right? And we'll see a glorious uh, learning what Prahlad Maharaj got in the womb of his mother Kayadu. So he says the Narada Muni continues saying that, although Prahlad Maharaj was born in a family of Asura or in a family of a demon, but Prahlad Maharaj was actually a very great exalted devotee. And Narada Muni is actually explaining this to Yudhishthira Maharaj, right? And he says he remembered the words spoken by me. I mean, Narada Muni is saying that the words which were spoken by me, he could remember very well, and he spoke the same to his fellow mates. And Prahlad Maharaj saying, replying to the question of these their fellow mates, that from where did he heard this transcendental knowledge? He said, when our father Hiranyakashipu went to Mandrachala mountain to execute severe austerity, in his absence, Devatas, headed by King Indra, and they made a severe attempt to subdue all the demons in warfare. And because Hiranyakashipu was actually quite strong, and he was everyone used to fear from him. But as he went for austerity, so taking the chance, all the devatas headed by Lord King Indra, they actually attacked all the demons. And because the demon becomes powerless, and then the devatas become victorious, they kill so many demons, and then the victorious demigod, they plundered all the places of Hiranyakashipu. And the king of the demons, and basically they plundered the places of Hiranyakashipu, who was the king of demon, and they destroyed everything within it. And then Indra arrested my mother. Prahlad Maharaj saying he arrested my mother, the queen was Kayadu, and she was crying. And at the same time, Narada Muni appeared. Narada Muni appeared and asked Indra to release her. Actually, Indra might have killed Kayadu as well, but he knew that Kayadu was, she had a baby in her womb, so he didn't kill. He just arrested her, and then he said that, Narada Muni said, you should. This woman is sinless, and you must release her immediately. And Indra was not in a mood to release her. He says, there's a demon in her womb, and once her child is delivered, we will release her. Till that time, let her in our custody. So we want to keep her till the child is born. And Indra was planning to kill the child, because he was again a demon, and he might be more kind of powerful and destroy everything again, like Hiranyakashipu. So he just wanted to clean all these demons. And then Narada Muni replied that this child is faultless and sinless. And indeed, he is a great devotee or exalted devotee and powerful servant of Lord Hari. By hearing this, Indra definitely they know very well who Narada Muni is, then and he actually even Narada Muni says that you won't be able to kill him as well. If you try also, you won't be able to kill him. So with due respect and understanding Narada Muni's words, and Indra left Kayadu. And as Indra left Kayadu, Narada Muni brought Prahlad Maharaj's mother to his ashram and assured her of all protection, that no one, with full protection given by Narada Muni to him. And then Prahlad Maharaj says that my mother, being pregnant, she desired the safety of her embryo and desired to give birth after her husband's arrival. So she gave a desire to Narada Muni, saying that I want to deliver this child when my husband is back or when Hiranyakashipu is back. So thus she stayed at Narada Muni ashram for a long time, and where she rendered service unto Narada Muni with great devotion. And Narada Muni gave instructions to both of us on religion and transcendental knowledge, and which were free from all metal contamination. So knowledge every day, because Narada Muni is sadhu, right? Great rishi, and when we are in association of these kind of great rishis, they will only talk about transcendental knowledge. And where he was providing this transcendental knowledge, and Mother Kayadu and Prahlad Maharaj in the womb, they both were listening actually. So they both used to listen. It Prabhupada says that uh, in this verse, the word comes nirmalam, dharmasya tattvam jnanam cha nirmalam. So the word nirmalam refers to spotless dharma, spotless religion, or in other words, Bhagavad dharma. Prabhupada says in his purport. And ordinary ritualistic activities constitute contaminated religion, by which one benefits by developing material wealth and prosperity. But uncontaminated pure religion consists of understanding one's relationship with God and acting accordingly, thus fulfilling the highest mission of life and returning home back to Godhead. And then uh, Prahlad Maharaj continues saying that my mother forget all those, but the great sages Narada blessed me, therefore I could not forget them. So again, we see the blessings of a rishi or devotees or pure devotees. In fact, when they bless, we get it. And he could remember everything. The teachings was given by Narada Muni to Prahlad Maharaj. And my dear friends, if you just keep faith in my words, and simply by faith, you can understand the transcendental knowledge. And Prahlad Maharaj is saying that just by keeping faith on my words, so that again basically says that no Shraddha, the first ladder of devotional service is Shraddha. So when we have faith that the scriptures what is saying are actually perfect, there is no duality in the scriptures. The duality might be because I am not able to understand it properly, and I need to clear my doubt by approaching a spiritual master. That's a good way. And rather than saying, okay, it looks like it's something wrong, and speculate it by their own mental things, that is not a correct thing. And we should have faith on the scriptures, and we have any doubt, we can approach to spiritual master, and they can guide us in a proper directions, what is this and what is that, right? Even just one example, uh, we may say how the Vedic scriptures, they contradict sometime. He says, let's an example, urine, isn't it? Urine is, or the stool are, anyway they are, no, it's untouchable things, isn't it? However, at the same time, the urine of a cow and stool of a cow, the cow dung, that are being used in in worshiping Lord. In India, if you see, with the cow dung, we used to clean all the places, and the cow urine is so pure. So both goes here and there contradicts. But when we approach with a proper knowledgeable person, like spiritual masters, they clarify that why cow's dung and why cow's urine is pure than anyone else thinks, right? That's the basic understanding that, and we all know the cow is a mother, right? So I'm saying that the point is scriptures, they provides all perfect thing, but we need to understand what we need to take from it. And that knowledge is given by a spiritual master. And hence Narada Muni provided all the instructions to Prahlad Maharaj, and that's Prahlad Maharaj saying that just keep faith in me, because what I am saying is actually is whatever I have heard from Narada Muni. And Prabhupada says that there are two most important understanding in spiritual knowledge. It's from Svetashwartara Upanishad. He says, unto those great soul who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master, all the imports of Vedic knowledge are automatically revealed. So Prabhupada says, quoting from Upanishad, Svetashwartara, that any person, any great soul who have unflinching faith in what? Two things: in Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and spiritual master. So if have complete faith in these two, all the Vedic knowledge will be revealed automatically within the heart. When Prabhupada, when he went to New York for spreading the Krishna consciousness, he was struggling a lot. He was alone, no money, no shelter, and nothing. At old age, he was actually suffering, but still he said that I had complete faith in my two things. These are two things, that the words of my spiritual master, and who has told me that you spread this Krishna consciousness in the Western world. And second, I have complete faith in Krishna's holy name. There is no difference between Krishna and Krishna's holy name. So that faith, we can see now that whole world is actually chanting the holy name at every corner, right? That is the faith what Srila Prabhupada had. And definitely we need to generate those kind of faith. And if we have this faith, complete faith, that yes, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and faith in spiritual master, everything will be revealed automatically as inspired by uh, Upanishad. And then Prabhupada says the second most important understanding is that it's again from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu on Nectar of Devotion. No one can understand Krishna as he is by the blunt material senses, but he reveals himself to the devotees, being pleased with them for their transcendental loving service to him. So, two things: having complete faith in Lord, spiritual master, scriptures, and rendering devotional service towards Lord Krishna, that will reveal everything to devotees. Otherwise, no one can understand Krishna as he is by the blunt mental senses. So, how Krishna is not be able to understand by any persons just by their material senses or trying to understand by their own. Right? That's why Krishna says, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadanchite jnanam jnanatasta darshina. So they have the great personalities, the great sages, they have actually seen. So we need to approach them and render service to them and inquire them submissively, and they will provide us the proper knowledge, and that will come to us and we can understand those. And then Prahlad Maharaj, after this, Prahlad Maharaj actually offers his blessings to his class friends, saying, also become faithful like me. Have faith in me and also become faithful like me. So become a bona fide Vaishnavas. So a devotee of Lord desires for everyone to take Krishna consciousness, right? And that's Prahlad Maharaj saying that no, not just have faith, also become like me. Have just be faithful like me to fully to surrender to Krishna, and that is basically becoming a bona fide Vaishnava, taking shelter of Krishna through Guru, right? And then he says, just as the fruits and flowers of a tree in due course of time undergo 6 changes: the birth, existence, growth, transformation, dwelling, and death. The material body, which is obtained by the spirit soul under different circumstances, undergoes similar changes. So we all know these 6 changes happens all the time. So birth is there, we spend some time for existence, and growth and transformation, we reproduce again, and then comes old age and death. So these are the six transformation happened. And then he says, however, there are no such changes for the soul. So the body changes, isn't it? Uh, if you see, our picture, our own picture of maybe at a birth photo, or now 30 years old photo, picture is huge change in that, but the soul within that remains same. The body may be changing. Even science says that in every 7 years, each, you know, uh, what is it, each particles of the body is become new, it changes, but the soul remains there, and that's why that same body is being known by the same name. And the body is changing, but the soul remains the same. And he says that atma, or that soul, refers to supreme soul or living entities, and both of them are spiritual. So super soul and the soul both are spiritual and free from birth and death, and they are free from deterioration and free from metal contamination as well. And by this learning, he started giving example, like, let's say, he says, uh, as an expert geologist can understand where there is gold and by various process can extract it from gold ore. Similarly, a spiritually advanced person can understand how the spiritual particle exists within the body, isn't it? So no one can understand where the gold lies. Even if you sometimes get some gems, that might not be a that might be a diamond, but we might think it's a other some no crappy thing. But when we go to the expert, they can say that this is what, but we might not be able to properly kind of judge it. But if that can be judged by someone who has gone through this, or basically who are spiritually advances persons, like the sadhus, spiritual masters, and the great devotees, they can actually understand the differences between this body and soul properly, and they can guide us to the same path as well. And he says, Prahlad Maharaj saying that no, a foolish person without cultivation of the spiritual knowledge cannot understand this. So understanding is required through spiritual knowledge. And then he says there are two kinds of bodies for every individual soul: a gross body made of five gross elements, bhumi, rapo, anala, vayu, kham, mano, buddhi, revacha, and the three subtle bodies, that is our mind, body, mind, intelligence, and ego. So these are the two bodies of the soul, and within this body the spirit soul lives. And one must find the soul by analysis, saying this is not, this is not, and this is not. What does that mean? It's like, so example is hand. So this hand is not soul, this head is not soul, this hand is not soul, this neck is not soul, and similarly goes on finding. And where is the soul? Soul is the spiritual spark. This whole body is not soul. That's how is that meaning is that this is not, this is not, this is not. By this analysis, he should try to find the soul within the, like, the body is the container, and within the body he needs to find where the soul. And he says the sober and expert person should search for the spirit soul. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. He starts searching about the soul, where it is lying and where it is, and how does it act, and all the things. And concludingly says, therefore, my dear friends, O son of the demons, your duty is to take Krishna consciousness, which can burn the seed of fruitive activities artificially created by the modes of metal nature, and of the different process recommended for disentanglement from the metal life. The one personally explained and accepted by Supreme Personality of Godhead should be considered as all perfect. And Prabhupada says the two scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita, which is one spoken by Lord Krishna, and Srimad Bhagavatam, which is about Krishna, this should be taken very seriously. And if we can just understand these two nicely and live our life nicely, we can definitely go back to Godhead. That is it. And Prabhupada explains that the process is clearly explained in Bhagavad Gita, where Lord says in chapter 18, Sarva dharmam parityaja mam ekam tranam praja. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. This process is the best because the Lord assures what he assures. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshyasmi ma sucha. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. And as stated by Prahlad Maharaj, that the the instructions by Lord Krishna should be taken seriously. And he Prabhupada commented on this comment on a purport, saying that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita clearly that Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. And then he continues saying that now one must accept the bona fide spiritual master and render service unto him with great devotion and faith. So devotion and faith are required for advancing in Krishna consciousness. And then it says, we should meditate on Lord's lotus feet and worship the deity of the Lord strictly according to the injunction of Shastras and Guru. Right. So again, surrendering to uh, spiritual master in a disciplic succession is being recommended for advancement in Krishna consciousness. And very, very important verses comes here in chapter 7. It says, one should always remember the supreme personality of Godhead in his localized representation as Paramatma, who is situated in the core of every living entity's heart. Thus, one should offer respect to every living entity according to that living entity's position or manifestation. So we should be respecting to each and every living entity, understanding that, yeah, we know in a tiger or lion, the Paramatma, Krishna is there, but it doesn't mean that we should go and hug a tiger or lion. He's gonna kill us. So understanding is that, yes, there is the living entity or Paramatma is there. However, the body, what he has got right now, is of a tiger, and he doesn't understand anything. If you go, he will just kill. Right. So in the similar way, we should try to understand our self and respect each and every living entity. And then Prabhupada says that no one should clearly understand that although Narayan is situated in the core of heart of every living entity, the living entity never becomes Narayana. Sometimes people make concept that okay, Narayan is there within the heart, so I can become Narayana as well. Prabhupada clearly says no, that the living entity can never become Narayana. And then Plasma continues saying that by these activities, as mentioned, like doing service to Lord, worshipping to Lord, and others, one will be able to cut down the influence of these enemies, likely lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and jealousy. And thus, situated one can render service to Lord. In this way, he can attain the uh, platform of loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by this, he start giving this all these beautiful teachings to the son of demons or his fellow mates. And then he says, uh, at the conclusion, he says, my dear friends, O son of the demons, you cannot please the Supreme Personality of Godhead by becoming a perfect Brahmanas, Devatas, or great saint, or by becoming perfectly good in etiquette or vast learning. None of these qualifications can awaken the pleasure of the Lord, nor by charity, austerity, sacrifice, cleanliness, or vows can satisfy the Lord. The Lord is pleased only if one has unflinching, unalloyed devotion to Him. And without sincere devotional service, everything is simply a show. So clearly, Prahlad Maharaj is saying that, so all the things, basically austerity, sacrifice, cleanliness, vows, these are not, I know it should be done, but the point here is what Prahlad Maharaj is making, that just by doing this we cannot understand Krishna. What we need is sincere devotional service. By that we can understand Krishna. Right. So just becoming a learned of all, okay, I know all the slokas of Bhagavad Gita, or all the scriptures I know, that doesn't make qualify to become a devotee of Krishna. The only thing is needed is the faith and devotion. Right. So gradually these are the all good qualities we should try to cultivate in our own self, like giving charity, doing austerity and sacrifices. But At the end, we should understand that why shall we do it? Just to please Krishna, right? Krishna says that Bhoktaram Yagatavasham Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So I am the real enjoyer of every sacrifice. So in that mood, when we do like we do Ekadashi, so Ekadashi Vrat is actually to please Krishna, isn't it? So offering prasadam and even offering bhoga is actually it's beneficial for us, right? When we offer to Krishna, he accepts it beautifully, and then he sends it back to us. And then when we take this remnant, we actually these are karma free. So in I think in Pune or somewhere in our Govinda restaurant, there's written a nice line. It says, "Karma free, sanctified food." So these food are karma free and they are fully sanctified by Lord's eyes. He has eaten it. So by this we don't get this binds or bondation of this metal world. And then Prabhupada says, I'll just take 2 more minutes. So Prabhupada says the entire world is suffering from want of Krishna consciousness, and therefore Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised all human beings born in India to make their lives perfect by Krishna consciousness and then preach the gospel of Krishna consciousness all over the world so that others may become happy by executing the principles of Krishna consciousness. So that's a message to every one of us by Srila Prabhupada that we should follow the instructions by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Eva Kevalam, and then preach the same to whomsoever we see. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna Upadesh. Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, so whomsoever you see, whomsoever you meet, say about the instruction of Krishna. And at the end, Prahlad Maharaj concludes saying that, oh my friends, oh son of demons, everyone, including you. So the demons, the unintelligent women, the Sudras or cowherd men, the birds, lower animals, and the sinful living entity can revive his original, eternal spiritual life and exist forever simply by accepting the principles of Bhakti Yoga. So just by doing devotional service, even demons can revive their own eternal spiritual life. What to speak about others? And he says that is the ultimate goal of life as revealed by all scriptures. So these two chapters are very full of nectarian uh, instructions given by Prahlad Maharaj to his fellow mates, and actually he has given these instructions to all of us, to the whole world. By reading this and practicing this slowly, gradually, we can see Krishna face to face. We can meet Krishna. We can go back to Godhead, right? And so I like to stop here. Any questions or any thoughts, please let me know. So we have actually completed chapter 7 as of now, and we'll continue tomorrow. We'll continue Bhakti Vriksha, and from Friday we'll continue chapter 8.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, just one question. When I think in between you said like, was it Prahlad Maharaj who said that we should be searching for the soul? Like a sane person will be searching for the soul within. Are there any instructions within Bhagavatam of how to search for the soul?
Okay, so the instructions in Bhagavatam, the how to search for the soul is that what we discussed today in a detail, that approaching to spiritual master. So the first is that tad vidhi pranipatena pariprasthena sevaya. So when we approach to a spiritual master, right, because we do not know much about it, and we will get bewildered just by our own thought. If we go on to studying the Vedas and scriptures, it will actually blow our mind. And uh, I'm just going through the Isopanishad, and the Sanskrit language it uses, it actually makes so many confusion in that same. But when we ask these questions or read it or get it understanding through the spiritual masters, or to the purport of Prabhupada, it makes more clearer to understand. That is why uh, to understand about the soul and the super soul and the relationship with them, we need a spiritual master, a spiritual guide, so who can let us know about these things.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. And actually, to be very honest, in this Kali Yoga, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually made it very, very clear or very easy to access to understand these things. He says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, just by chanting the holy name, one can kirtan sadahari. When we chant the holy name, his pastimes, his activities, we can actually revive this relationship between him. When we start loving Krishna, today we discussed that he will reveal within us automatically, right? So that is the point, that somehow or other we need to make it a bit practical. So theoretical knowledge we are getting it. So once we have some practical activities going on, like uh, this a very very easy way to take it, like we all used to eat fruits, isn't it? So before eating the fruits, why not take some time and wash it, clean it, and put it on the altar of whatever we have, and then we can just chant 3 times Hare Krishna Mahamantra for them, and keep that fruits. Maybe let's say for example apple, keep it there for maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and after that again take it back and then have it. It becomes transcendental just by doing this. And uh, thanks for the good question. Actually, some 2 years back, Bhakti Prabha Maharaj actually, he was here at my home for giving a class. So His Holiness Bhakti Prabha Maharaj, he said that even science says that even within 7 years, the whole uh, particles of a body becomes new. So if for 7 years, if we can have only food offered to Lord Krishna, then our whole body will be nourished by the food offered to Krishna, that is basically nourished by prasad, and our body will actually become transcendental. And then this understanding of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, will be like just like water. It will come very clearly at understanding it. So that's again a nice way to start with, like offering at least fruits to Lord Krishna. And Krishna says, patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayashyati. Just with devotion, if anyone offers it, I accept it. Right.
Mhm. So the whole point is to find Krishna, not to find the soul. Correct?
Yes, because definitely once you find the soul, then we start understanding that from where the soul comes. And Krishna
Hmm.
says, these are all my parts and partial. So then we tried finding Krishna. And then when we find Krishna, then we start searching that how the soul and super soul of Krishna are interrelated, and that those are interrelated by service. That as if, like uh, we are related to our family members, someone by the relations, like uh, either father, mother, kid, son, daughter, brother, and friends. As a relationship we have, in a similar way we have a relationship with Krishna.
Hmm.
And this
So
point actually is coming, maybe we'll discuss it either Monday, that about the five relationship which we can have with Krishna.
right. Sorry, Prabhuji. One last question.
Yes, please.
Uh, so say when soul searching or searching for the soul, Krishna, uh, Krishna's consciousness and our own consciousness is already connected. So can we come to a conclusion that if I'm searching for a soul, I've already found Krishna?
If we are searching for the soul, it's not mandatory, or it's not by default say that we found Krishna, unless until we follow the path which is being suggested, like taking shelter of spiritual master, understanding from him about these things,
Hmm.
right? So if we try to find our soul by our own self, then we might find by the mercy of Krishna, but it becomes very difficult as well, because there are so many different paths to follow. Like, someone can go through karma yoga, someone can go through jnana yoga, someone can go through dhyana yoga, and which one to take.
Hmm.
So that is being made clear by spiritual masters, who are actually very, who are basically bona fide spiritual masters, who are coming in the line of disciplic successions. They can guide Krishna, us, that, like, it's basically, let's, for example, we have 10-story building, and we want to go to the 10th floor. Basically, we want to go to spiritual world, and there are stairs as well. In the stairs, you can go to first floor, and you might get tired, or till third floor. Okay, let's not walk anymore, 7th floor, let's go back down to 0th floor. That might happen. But when we take a lift, that's more quicker, and we can reach to the top floor very easily. So
Hmm.
spiritual master shows us path of this lift, that is bhakti yoga, rather than going towards the other paths like karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, others. So those are there. I'm not saying those are not there, but that makes a bit more difficult and path as well. Like, let's, for example, uh, meditation, Ashtanga yoga. By that also, we can see Krishna, and
Hmm.
we have discussed earlier as well. Uh, when Kapil Dev was saying about these things, we discussed that, even the dhyana yogis or jnana yogis, they have to cultivate towards the bhakti yoga. Then only they can get actual destination.
Hmm.
So why not to take the path of bhakti yoga directly and get the spiritual world?
Hmm.
That makes sense, Prabhu?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Papi.
Okay.
Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Uh, Bharat Maharaj actually follow which path then? He was not following the meditation part, or he was not doing the bhakti part. So in which path he was actually following then?
No,
Because
Prabhu, he was doing bhakti path. So if you see, after giving up all his, family affairs, at the end, he went to the hermitage, and he was following properly bhakti path for Krishna consciousness. And somehow it was a plan of Krishna to teach us all and glorify Lord Bharat Maharaj, actually. So he became inclined towards the deer, just to teach us that, the inclination can, or towards the Maya, can drag us at any time. So we need to be cautious. So for that, there's a plan made by Krishna's, and also to glorify Bharat Maharaj's teachings through, as Jad Bharat. So he was following the path of devotional service, as being instruction given by uh, Rishabh Dev to him. Because Rishabh Dev, when was giving instruction, he said very well that, to all others, his son, 19 sons, he says, you just follow Bharat properly. So Bharat Maharaj was fully on the path of devotional service.
okay, Prabhuji. But his father was a Brahmin, but he was not listening to his father, as I know. He was just don't want to follow his father's path because his father was a Purohit, I guess.
Yes,
Uh,
so that was his third birth.
yes.
Yes, that in that birth he was known as Jad Bharat. That is why he was called as Jada. Jada means, I don't want to understand anything. Though he was actually acting like he's not understanding anything. We understood that he don't want to get associated with all other rituals and other things. That is why he don't want to uh, act properly, or knowingly he was not acting as what his father was saying. So it was just his, and in the from his heart, he was fully always conscious of Krishna. And when he met the king, he spoke everything to that, right, to the king Raugana. He spoke the whole uh, understanding of the life, body and soul, and entanglement in this material world. And he says, you're king, or right now you are king, next life you don't know what will happen. So that at that time he spoke everything. But the learning what he had in this previous life as Bharat Maharaj, everything was within him, just by the mercy of Lord. So the instructions given by his Brahmin father, is not being followed by Bharat Maharaj, as in Jad Bharat, just as it was an outer action. Innerly, he was fully conscious of Krishna all the time.
So that's the point. So he know all his birth, and he know he is not a body, he is a soul, because he has seen all the three lives. So he
Yes.
was always in a consciousness like, I am not a body because I am changing all the time, and I am a soul, and I am moving body to body. So that's why maybe in 3 lives he had realized that.
No, actually, he was realized in his first life also. As I said, Bharat Maharaj, he never fell down from his body to a deer and to the Bharat. Actually, it was just a plan of Krishna's to teach us, to give us lessons. That is why he came into the next life. Or in the other way, you can also be correct that in other way we can understand that, if we don't realize our own self, own actions, then we can get degraded as well. We can degrade ourselves as well. Though he was in exalted position, and very quickly he regained his position back, and by the mercy of Krishna he could remember his previous lives in the form of deer as well as in the form of Jalvarat as well. But it's not for us. We don't remember even what we have eaten last week properly.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
No problem. That's nice for a good discussion. That's good. All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki,
Jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. So tomorrow meeting at 7:30.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.